So what do you get when you cross a professionally animated wipe, 2 custom sound effects for each one of those wipes, then put them in a huge library of theme volumes? Why, swipes, of course. Over the years, I've heard video editing compared to many things, including a jigsaw puzzle that the editor puts all the pieces together to complete an image. Personally, I look at a video edit as a series of decisions to be made and problems that need to be solved. Swipes can solve all kinds of problems for a video editor, and I'm going to prove it. So sit back, relax, and take 5 as we show you how to become a transition magician with 5 cool ways swipes can add a pro look to your productions. Tip number 1, let it breathe, using swipes to give the viewer a visual breather between segments. Like a fine wine, a video sometimes needs to breathe. Too often, video editors will use a cut or a quick dissolve to transition between 2 pieces of video or segments of a program, and the change is just a bit too abrupt without a transition solution like swipes. For instance, after the last few seconds of a soundbite, but before the beginning of the next soundbite or next piece of video, a swipe gives the viewer a brief moment to absorb what was just said, and a moment to prepare for what's coming next. While this transition moment might be brief, between a half second and 2 seconds, it gives the viewer that necessary pause they need to make a mental transition from one subject to the next. Tip number 2. Go under and over, using swipes to transition under overlays. Sometimes editors think just because they're using an overlay over their video bed that a cut or dissolve is the only option they have to transition. But this couldn't be farther from the truth. With swipes, you have a nearly endless array of options for ways to transition between video clips while using an overlay. Simply arrange your video clips on a lower track of your timeline, placing the swipe on the track just above, aligning the swipe so that the frame where the animation covers the full screen is lined up where the frame of your video cuts from one clip to the other, which will make for a seamless transition for your video. Then key your overlay right on top of your swipe and video tracks. Of course, as always, when selecting any animation or element, make sure your overlay and swipe are complementary in style and have the same feel. The result is a very professional composition that looks like it took a lot of complex layering, design, and time, but us juicers know the secret solution: swipes. Tip number 3, making your edit point the point, using a swipe to drive home your, well, point. As Chuck very eloquently stated in an episode of Field of View, most of the time you want your edits to be invisible. But on occasion, actually drawing attention to the edit point can help you draw attention to the point of your production. Swipes, with their dynamic design and choice of custom sound effects, are the perfect solution for really focusing the viewer's attention to the point of your content. For example, if your presentation calls for you to illustrate a hot stock tip, you might use a swipe from Volume 3, Hot Flashes, to not only transition from your B-roll to a hot stock graphic, but to transition in a very eye-catching way that helps you drive the hot point home. A second quick example. Maybe the narrator in your project is talking about an underwater expedition. As the narrator takes the viewer underwater in his story, your transition from above the surface to below the surface footage could be highlighted by a cool swipe from Particle Wonders. It not only transitions from clip A to clip B, it does so in a way that brings the viewer's attention to the fact that you're now taking them underwater. Swipes not only help you convey your message, but also help bring attention to the twists, turns, timing changes, transformations, and transitions in your stories. Tip number 4, swipe and reveal, using swipes to reveal text, video, or logos without changing the background. Now, I say this all the time, but only because it's true. You can use almost any of the tips and tricks from Take5 with almost any of the thousands of juice elements in your libraries. This next tip is no exception. Now, we've talked about using swipes to dynamically transition from one piece of video to another, with the incredible animating wipes and custom designed sound effects that go with them. But if you mix in some creativity, you can certainly use swipes for so much more than just cool wipes. If you have a piece of video over a background, use a swipe to transition from one piece of video to another without changing the background. In your editing app, simply put your background on the lowest video track. Your first piece of video on the next track up, sized and positioned where you want it. Make a cut edit with your next piece of video sized and positioned accordingly. Then use the juicer to browse and select a swipe that you like, and to choose one of the 2 coordinated custom sound effects provided, or to turn off the sound and export the wipe without audio. You can size and position the swipe in the juicer or in your video editing application. Then place it on the next video track up, so the frame where the swipe goes full screen covers the frame where your video cuts from the first clip to the second. You can also swipe logos. You can swipe text. You can swipe videos, logos, and text all together without the background ever changing. Tip number 5, pace yourself, using swipes to shift gears during your video. Swipes are the perfect solution to bridge the transition of a pace change and to send a signal to the viewer that something notable is happening. Let's say you're creating a fast-paced, high-energy technical presentation. Your music and your video edits are moving along at a pretty fast pace. Then you need to transition to a soundbite. Cutting directly to the soundbite from your screaming video may be a little too abrupt and just not feel right. But using a swipe with their dynamic animation and custom sound effects helps your viewers understand that a change is taking place and quickly prepares them for the pace change. While all this happens very fast, almost subconsciously, the swipe subtly alerts the viewers that something is changing and makes for a much smoother, more professional transition. By the way, it works the same for going from slow to fast. Maybe you're coming out of a long narration by some terribly boring speaker and you need to transition to a brisk section of graphic elements. Once again, the swipes are the perfect solution. Let's quickly recap. Tip number 1, let it breathe. Tip number 2, go under an overlay. Tip number 3, making your point. Tip number 4, swipe and reveal. Tip number 5, pace yourself. Until next time, don't forget to balance work and play, and every once in a while, stop and take 5.